You know what? Join in. Get into the fucking voice chat. Radiant, where the fuck are you? Okay, Radiant, where the fuck are you? Get into this fucking voice chat immediately.
Hello?
Radiant. Oops. Radiant,
What?
you cannot be this retarded.
I mean, it's pretty, like, I don't understand. Like, if it's a literal Nazi, you can't trust that they'd be, like, loyal to the Democratic Party, right? Like, it's a Nazi, right? Like, if they're a Nazi, their main beliefs are pure fascism and, like, pretty much everything Republicans believe in, right? And there'd be a very real chance that they're just hiding it to get elected, right?
Okay. And
Okay, what do you mean? So why would
you
you
realize
like in what
you
case if you
realize
know it's
hold on,
two
hold on, hold on,
Nazis?
hold on.
Why would
You
you vote
realize
like
you realize you're making the populist argument that politicians are scumfucks, snake-faced liars, and you should never trust a word that they say, and
no,
instead
no,
they
I
all have
didn't. No, that's
secret
what I said.
agendas
If
and
we
they're
know
like
that they're
kowtowing
Nazis,
to companies, right?
I said
You're
if we
making
know
that
that they're
argument.
Nazis. No, no, no.
Okay.
I said in this case we know that they're Nazis. We're not saying that like oh like this guy's a secret Nazi and the other guy is a real Nazi or something. Like we
Okay.
know, like we're saying that we know that like we have perfect knowledge that they're both Nazis,
Okay, so you're
right?
not talking about Platner, right? Just to be fair, because we don't know whether or
For
not he is
Platner,
a
I would say
Nazi
that there is a
100%.
preponderance of evidence that he has some kind of Nazi beliefs, because like he literally called it a Totenkopf, whatever, however you pronounce it, skull thing, whatever, prior to all this stuff blowing up. So he definitely clearly knew about it. And if at least if it were me, I feel like if I knew I had a real Nazi tattoo on me, I'd be pretty like hasty in getting rid of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. Okay.
like
What if I told you? What if I told you I actually don't give a fuck whether or not Platner is a Nazi or not? What if I told you that?
and that's what I was asking earlier, right? Like, what if you had to vote
Okay.
between Nazi 1 and Nazi 2? Who would you vote for?
Sure. Okay. All right. Gavin Newsom, but Nazi.
If Gavin Newsom was a Nazi, that'd be really hard. I'd hope he wouldn't make it to the Democratic like seat. And if he was the Democrat, I would potentially vote for him only because there would be like a 0.001% chance that like he would actually do the stuff that he's campaigning on versus the Republican, which would be 0% chance.
I think historically, if you like look at history and shit like that, it like is it not true? And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not true that politicians typically like implement like 77% like or 70% of the things that they say on their campaign trail?
I
Like
mean, yes, but like
because typically
you're
they care
asking
about getting reelected, right?
you're asking about a Democrat Nazi. Like
Yeah.
what Democrat Nazis like actually exists. Like this is a very like
Right.
again, like you're
Like
adding a bunch of
let's
nuance
just
to
say you're
this.
right, okay? Like let's just say you're hypothetically right and they were hiding they're using their platform as a way to hide the fact that they are a Nazi because once they get into power, then they are going to try to implement like the fall of democracy or something, right? But is that even possible based off of one term?
Trump is doing it. But
Yeah, but
we'll see if
like
Trump is gonna succeed in it in the
yeah,
next 4 years.
but
He's doing
Trump
going
has not.
pretty
Hold on,
fast.
hold on. I'm so glad you brought up Trump, right? Trump being in the president, what right? Because the president of the United States is so much more of a powerful position than whatever Platner is going for, right? Like even though what Platner is going for is a less powerful position, it's still a powerful position, but that's nothing compared to the president, right? So the thing is that not even Trump is able to turn the United States into a fascist regime in one term, right? Even
Yeah,
though
now
he
you're
got
changing it.
close.
Okay, now you're changing into you're saying now it's not a presidential election anymore. You're saying we're talking about the Senate race, right?
No,
Like,
because you brought up Trump. So we're arguing on the Trump point, right?
I mean, I'm saying like well, I brought up Trump to say that it is possible to like potentially overthrow democracy in a single term.
Uh, okay. I mean,
I mean,
you
that
say that, but
isn't that what I brought
you're
up for?
talking about an alternate reality where like you're being in hindsight Andy right now. You're saying,
It's not
oh,
hindsight.
if
What do you mean? We're seeing it right now.
it
Trump
is
overthrowing
because
democracy?
no, you are saying, oh, Trump could have potentially he could have potentially overthrew democracy in a single term, his
Yeah, he's doing it
first
right
term.
now.
but we
No, no,
don't
no. I'm
know
not talking about
that.
his first term is definitely
I
not
can't
concurrent.
disprove that, and you can't prove it either.
No, no. Okay, I'm saying that his first term is not concurrent with this thing. Like right now, his second term is entirely different from his first term. He's
What are you
gone
talking
like
about? It's
full.
completely concurrent. You
No,
realize that,
like
right?
how? Like
The
there's no like
decisions,
progression.
the decisions that he is making on his second term is because of the consequences that he
Right,
felt
he's doing it with
during
the
his
benefit
first
of
term.
hindsight.
Like
But
he,
let's say if Trump, let's say if Vance gets elected after Trump, right? If Vance gets elected after Trump, like he's not gonna like he's definitely would be able to overthrow democracy in a single term. Like it's not
yeah,
like
but it's only because he is building upon the thing that Trump has already started on, right? The demolishment of the Constitution and the dissolution of this country, right?
I mean
Like he isn't
the
starting
Constitution isn't necessarily
you
being like
recognize like if Vance get elected, right? Like he isn't starting from scratch, right? He's starting
it,
off from where Trump left off,
it's not
obviously.
necessarily okay, like it's not necessarily like starting from scratch. It's as in like all the things that Trump is doing, like in his first term, he mainly behaved in like the boundaries of the law, at least before the 2020 election.
Hold on.
Um,
I kind of want you to zoom out a little bit, okay? Because
okay.
right now we're talking about Platner, okay? We're talking
Yes.
about whether or not, like, even if a Nazi ran as a Democratic candidate, whether or not we want them, right? But we can at least both acknowledge that you need to be reelected in order to carry out long term goals, right? Like,
No,
there's a
I
lot
think
of
you can
goals.
definitely do all this stuff in a single term. Like if we're talking about Trump, I mean, it really depends on the position you're running
No,
for,
not
but like,
Trump. We're talking about Platner
I
right
know,
now.
I
Okay.
know.
We're not
Okay,
talking about the president. We're like, and by the way, even when it comes to the president, I don't even think you're right. But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay. Because when it comes to Platner, that's a much weaker position. And in addition to it being a weaker position in comparison to the president, you're talking about like, oh, this Nazi who's like fucking infiltrating the whatever. But
okay,
like,
yeah. It really
yeah,
depends.
go ahead.
Like I like it super depends on the person they're running against and what the situation is currently and who they are currently. Like if it's Platner with a Nazi tattoo, there's like I'd say there's probably like a 60% chance that he harbors some kind of like white supremacist ideology. Uh like depending on the person he's
Has
running
there been
against.
any evidence in
I
any way
he called it
whatsoever outside of him knowing the name of the tattoo and him not removing it and him having the tattoo? Anything
yeah,
outside of the tattoo?
he read in a I forgot what it was. Like was reading about some of his history like in Blackwater or whatever. Like
Wait,
there's definitely
wait.
some really
Yeah.
questionable stuff related
All
to
right.
that on its own wouldn't mean much, but when you add it all together, it adds up to like in my opinion, like a 60% chance that this guy like got the tattoo in a like because he wanted the tattoo, like he wanted a Nazi tattoo, not necessarily because he wanted a cool skull or whatever. Because again, like I mentioned, I didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo until people actually brought it up. So like, oh, it's a Nazi skull or whatever.
Aren't the people who
And
are
I was
concerned
gonna,
about Blackwater like all fucking lefties and like
yeah, okay,
me like conservatives and shit? Like,
Blackwater is actually a really bad, well, not really bad. They've had some really bad stuff in their history as a PMC. But there's a lot you should look into it. I have to look into it again because it's been a while. But I'm pretty sure Blackwater is like universally hated, and
well, it
lefties
doesn't
hate it
matter
because
if
it's
they're
like
universally hated, right? Like if they're universally hated and it's being used, like it's being used as a cudgel, in order to signal that the Democrats are full of Nazis. Like, don't you think that maybe like you shouldn't
but
play
it's
into
not.
these bad faith criticisms?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you were to collect all the evidence, like the seemingly it seems like he's pretending to not know that
What
the skull thing.
evidence, dude?
Huh? What I just explained it. Look, the skull thing, right? The
As
Totenkopf
a fucking Nazi, like
that he knew the
the
name of.
dude was probably a far right back in the day, and like fucking
Right, you
got it
could say
because it
that,
looked
and he
cool,
could
and
say
now
that,
he's lying
and
as
that
a
would make a lot of
politician,
sense.
and now he
Right,
removed it, right? But the thing
that would make
is
a
that
lot of sense. But why would you remove it?
that doesn't represent the way that he is now, nor does it. Maybe he just didn't want to remove it. That's it, right?
That's still,
Well, maybe because he's too
I
lazy
don't
or didn't
know.
think that it was a
I
big
don't
deal because
understand.
it wasn't on his face,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. I don't understand the situation where you would choose not to remove a tattoo, especially when you are or you're posing yourself as like a super far left, like anti-Israel guy, like hyper progressive person. Like that seems like entirely like opposite of like your personal opinions of like having even like aesthetically like Nazi stuff, just anything in general, any symbolism. Like me, if I had like a skull on me, if I had that skull and I didn't learn it was a Nazi skull until like, I don't know, 10 years later, I might not remove it. Like because I think it's a
Because
cool
you're not
skull. Like
overthinking
skulls
it,
are
right?
separate from Nazis.
Yeah.
But like like he like is a hyper lefty person. Like I've like you already see how they react when they see like I don't know. I can't think of a good example, but like they're way more sensitive to stuff like this.
Dude,
But and again, that's
I can't
one
tell if
piece
you're
of
trolling,
evidence.
okay?
That's
Because I
one
feel
piece of
like,
evidence.
dude, Radiant, you and I are both defending Steven, right? And one of the most common defenses that we give is like we just don't have enough determinate evidence based off of like, I don't
Actually,
know,
you know what?
police
If you want to ask
convictions or
him,
some shit
if
like
you want to
that.
ask him,
But okay,
I bet if
yeah.
you DM'd him right now and asked him, like, does he think like there is a reasonable chance that this guy could be like, or could harbor some kind of white supremacist views? I think he would agree with me.
Okay, even if he
I'm
agrees, I
saying,
don't see how
I'm
that
saying there's
disproves
like a
my point.
60%.
You realize that even if Destiny like thinks that he is a Nazi, how does that like disprove any of my points?
Well, about like the that would mean he would disagree with like or like the idea of
No,
like
Steven is like the ultimate guy who gives all the takes, and you should always adopt his takes.
well
And
no
blah,
because
blah,
I
blah.
was because you're
Okay,
okay you're saying I would defend
listen.
him,
Okay, listen,
right?
listen,
You're saying
listen.
I would
Okay,
defend him.
listen.
Okay.
Would you hold on?
Yeah.
Hold on. Just a hypothetical, okay? All right, because hypotheticals always solves these kinds of things. Okay. Um, if Gavin Newsom had the same scenario, like Gavin Newsom also had a fucking Nazi tattoo out in broad daylight, okay, and he knew the name of it, but then you still know all of his policies, you still support all of his policies. Would you then say, yeah, you shouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom
Okay, and
as
that's when
opposed to
and
another Democrat?
that's why I said it would highly depend on who he's running against, what the current political situation is, and what race this is for. Like we're talking about presidency, right?
No, no, no,
Oh,
not sorry, not presidency. Let's just say like it was literally. Wait, does it matter? Like,
yes, it
would you
definitely
would you
matters. Like the
would you
thing you
be
just said
okay with the
earlier,
Nazi running your school board, I guess, but not okay with the Nazi running the
it would
president,
depend on who they're
like in the
running
United
against,
States?
right? Like, and how
Okay.
what kind of power they'd be wielding. Like if they're like if Gavin Newsom is running for like the seat of like I don't know what's a swing state, Pennsylvania or something, like I would like heavily consider like voting for a Nazi, like voting for a Nazi versus some crazy like MAGA Republican, right? And it wouldn't be because oh I think Nazis are better than Republicans. It's just more just like as in like it'd be a very like complex like power calculation of figuring out like how likely it is that this guy would be a positive like impact in Democrats in general of like opposing Republicans in the
Well, the
Senate
most
and so
important,
else.
sure, but like what also matters is like the messaging, right? Like if you're playing into concern trolls, like wouldn't that damage the Democrats more than a lot more than him?
No, it wouldn't be playing into concern trolls because if this guy was like already past the primary, I would probably still support him because it's not like a 90%, 90+% chance of him like being a
Okay.
Nazi. Like this is more like
Okay.
this is preponderance of evidence. Like I would be concerned. Like I said, I'm super concerned, but like it's not, he's not running against the
Okay.
Republican yet.
So I
Because
think
most
there's a
Republicans I
fundamental
consider
disagreement here.
worse
Hold on, hold
than.
on. Yeah, yeah, but there's a fundamental disconnect that we have here, right? Because you're saying that you're saying that even if it is a good faith critique but used in a bad way, which kind of turns into a bad faith critique, then you would still respond to that. But in my opinion, you shouldn't because it enables the bad faith behavior.
Well, he's choosing to address it in everything. Like he's contradicting himself. That's what I'm saying. Like everything he's saying, it like doesn't make sense, and he's like digging himself into a deeper hole because now he's raising the chances of him being a
Yeah,
Nazi.
that's not an answer to my question.
Well, I'm reacting to the information that I'm learning because if this guy was 100% Nazi, then it would be extremely calculated decision of choosing whether to vote for him or the Republican that would be running for the certain seat.
Wait, do we know whether or not this guy's 100% a Nazi?
No,
A
that's why I said
hundred
he's
percent.
60%. That's why I said he's 60%,
Okay, guess what? A
in my opinion.
60% is not enough.
And that's why I said like I would consider like
You ready?
voting for him
You ready
still.
for my percentage on whether or not he is a white supremacist Nazi person in secret? My percentage for him would probably be like fucking 15%.
That's pretty good, I think. Like because you don't know
Oh my
much about
god,
Blackwater and stuff, so I would understand that.
dude.
And you don't know any about his other like history that might have like that I'm including as my like personal like like what do you call it, probability of figuring out if he's a Nazi or not. But like just off the skull tattoo thing, yeah, I would understand like why you'd be at 15%.
Here's here's what's frustrating. Okay, like what's frustrating is that like constantly optics cucks are coming
It's
in,
not it's not
and
optics. I'm saying
it is. It
personally, I'm
is.
just
It
saying
is.
that
Nah,
this
it is. You
guy
can pretend it isn't. You can
could
pretend
be
it
a
isn't, but it
Nazi.
is, okay? When there's not enough evidence to put him beyond the shadow of a doubt, and you're just feeding into lines that fucking hate the Democratic Party,
Nobody's
and they're trying to push propaganda that like this Nazi guy is about to run or something like that,
Well,
you are. Yeah.
this guy isn't even the front runner for the Democratic primary. He's a lefty candidate. Lefties love him. The establishment middle Dems hate him. Um,
I'm just
and
saying you would
two,
not say the same thing if this was Gavin Newsom, right?
if it was Gavin Newsom, if it was just the tattoo, I would say the same thing as you. I'd say it's 15%. But then if you look into the other stuff that the guy is like, what?
Bro.
It's just like on it. That's why. Remember how I said at the beginning. Just a
Wait,
tattoo on its own
so
is
you
not
agree
much.
with
It's
me,
kind of
right?
concerning.
You agree with me,
No,
right?
no, I'm saying just
Okay,
the
this
yeah.
is
No,
great.
I'm not necessarily agreeing. I'm saying on just the tattoo, right? I wouldn't pay too much mind. I'd be kind of concerned about why he's like sort of lying about it because again, there was that quote from the friend that where he called it a Totenkopf or whatever, and like he's seemingly now pretending that he didn't know about that until now that it happening, and then decided to cover it up now. That'd be kind of concerning, but like it would be kind of understandable because he's trying to be PR friendly. Um, but like if you consider everything else, then
So,
yeah, that's why I raised my percentage to like 60%.
okay, so you said that you would support Gavin Newsom even if he went through the
If it was
same
just a
tattoo shit,
tattoo,
right?
if it was just a tattoo, yeah, if it was
Yeah.
just the tattoo, not if
Okay.
he wasn't a Blackwater like operative, if he
No, no,
wasn't
let's
like
just say Gavin
hanging out
Newsom was all
men,
that. No, 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 no.
if
Hold on,
he
hold
was
on. Hold
if
on,
he was
hold on.
pro-Israel, if he was
What if
pro-Israel
Gavin
and all this
Newsom was
stuff,
also Blackwater? What if Gavin Newsom was also Blackwater?
if he's pro-Israel and all this stuff, like he was Blackwater, he was hyper
Yep.
pro-Israel, like
Yep.
he
I'm
always
just
like
saying, just put everything about Platner into Gavin Newsom's background, but with Gavin Newsom's awesomeness, okay, and his
I know,
edginess and his like
but you're
fucking
also
crazy
saying
shit.
right. You're
Yeah.
also saying yes, okay, and you're also putting it again. This would be have to be a hyper calculated like voting like decision. Like if Gavin Newsom was a like 100% Nazi versus like the 60% now, like it
Oh,
would be
all I'm saying, no, like the thing is like you. That's it. That's it. It's just like a simple yes or no. Like, would you support him or not? Yes or no?
if I would support
I'm
Gavin
going
Newsom
peaceful
with a
on you.
tattoo and was
Hmm.
pro-Israel and
No, no.
if no, you said
If
it's the same
he
thing. If it's like
if
Platner, right?
no,
That's what you just said.
his background, not his policies. If his policies were still Gavin Newsom, moderate lib, cool
What?
lefty,
Then
cool liberal
If it's just
policies,
Gavin Newsom with a Nazi
but
tattoo, yes, I'd probably vote for him because it'd be like 50% chance that he just
no, no,
kept it
no.
because
It's
it's a cool
Gavin Newsom
tattoo.
with a Nazi tattoo and with Blackwater like background, and he was a Marine, and he has all the fucking Platner history.
Okay, that's what I asked. Yes, okay, if it's like that, then I'd have to consider who's the opponent that he's running against and what the race is and all this other bunch of things about like strategic voting. Because again, like we can't really trust Nazis to be better than the other Nazis. Again, but like the only benefit would be that this is like a hiding Nazi versus a totally outward like Nazi, right? Which is the Republicans. Does that make sense?
No,
How does it not make sense? Like it's pretty obvious. Like, and again, this is like a 60% Nazi. We're not talking about like 100% Nazi. Because like in a 60% Nazi, I'd probably like almost just like fully just vote for him. But like, I definitely want to know more to be sure about like who this person is.
I'm not talking
Uh,
about. Hold on. You realize I'm not talking about whether or not you vote, right?
You're asking me who would I vote for?
Okay, maybe a little bit, but like what I'm addressing mostly is like the social media strategy, right? Because either way, I don't think we're both in a position to vote for Platner or not, right? Like chances are I'll vote for the more moderate
The
like
social media,
Democrat,
I just want to talk
right?
about it.
Over
I would want
Platner.
to ask
Absolutely.
Platner. I'd want to
Right?
ask
Like I
Platner himself
personally, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
if we're already past the primary, right? And then we're sure that Newsom or Platner or whatever is the candidate, then I just wouldn't bring it up because like then we're just already taking the like you're just doing the work for the opposite side. But like the primary is the perfect place to like trash talk the current candidates. At least like to make sure that this is the right guy.
Yeah, but we're
Uh,
not talking about whether or not you should trash talk him or not. You realize that, right? Like in terms of the primary, like from the perspective of like an opponent. Because if I was an opponent and I was running against Platner, like 100%, like I would talk about his tattoo.
Yeah, they're gonna
100%, that's a
talk
kill
about it, but
shot. Yeah,
I would just
absolutely,
blow
I
it off.
would.
I would like completely shove it off and just like not talk and try to avoid it as much as possible. Like you would just dodge the question and stuff.
Huh? What do you mean?
Like you would like if it comes up in a debate or something, just be like, I don't know, like how could you explain it? Like you know what I mean? Like just dodge the question. Like just like talk about something else. Like I don't know why we're talking. Like you'd be like, I don't know, we're talking about a tattoo when my opponent is blah 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 or something like
Yeah,
that,
but
right?
I'm not
Like
talking about like a public debate stage.
I know, but like I would say I would want to talk to and figure out if he's actually a Nazi, right? But I wouldn't be like I wouldn't have a public stance of like fully like I disavow or something dumb
Wait,
like that, right?
you realize by you saying that you're already acknowledging and like confirming in your heart that like you don't know whether or not that this guy is like proven to be a Nazi, but
Yeah,
you're
that's why
already regarding
right. Let's say
but the way hold
60%.
on, hold on, but the way that you're treating him, but the way you're treating him is as if he is already a Nazi. Like
No, no,
everything that
I
you have
said he's
said
60%
is
and
like
I would want to know a lot more about him, right?
okay, the way that
Like
you come off right now is like if someone was making a conspiracy theory, like going into a conspiracy and being like, "Oh, well, I would love to learn more about the 9/11 like fucking bombs on the fucking like building
well
or
no, okay,
whatever
but
the
the
fuck,"
9/11 thing
right?
has no evidence behind it, right?
Because you're making a claim that otherwise you don't have enough information to prove, but you want to implant that idea into people's minds so then you can convince them of the idea that he should be treated like a Nazi, right?
Okay, so not one, 9/11 has no like
No, I'm
9/11
not.
conspiracies have no evidence behind them, so you can't really like in this case, like there
What
is
are you
like at
talking about?
least
If you
some
talk,
evidence.
hold on. If you talk with any conspiracist, like 100%, they would bring up like physics numbers. They would bring up
Right,
like,
there's
oh
no
well, this
credible
is how
evidence.
hot it would be
That's
to
all been
melt steel
disproven though.
beams, right? Like 100%. Like, and they will say
Right,
it's solid evidence. They will
that's
literally
all,
say it's
but
solid
it's all been
evidence.
disproven. It's all been disproven by like a logical thinking person, right? But like this thing is not 100% disproven, right? It's more like
Yeah, no,
30% disproven.
the tattoo itself is not, um, the tattoo
Tattoos are
itself is
disproven.
not disproven.
And
But you need more evidence than that. You really do.
yeah, to say 100% Nazi, right? But like this is we're at a point where
I'm
this
just
we're in the
saying you would
primary.
never hold on. We don't
Uh-huh.
disagree all that much, right? Because we both acknowledge that when it comes to Gavin Newsom, right? If Gavin Newsom went through the like entirely the same thing, we would still support Gavin Newsom, right?
If it was before the
We
primary,
will both do that. Yes or no? Yes or no?
if
You would
Gavin
say
Newsom had
good.
the exact same history and stuff, I'd want to know a lot more about Gavin Newsom, and hopefully, like, if it does turn out that he is a Nazi, like, actually, even potentially, like, if this is before the primary, I potentially consider a different candidate because it'd be a lot less risky of getting a literal Nazi to run as the party position. But
Okay,
like,
let's just
yeah,
say
I
you
would be.
weren't voting for. Okay, okay. Let's just say you weren't in a position to vote, but you just want to like say something on social media as a comment.
Wait, sorry, repeat that again.
Let's just say you weren't in a position to vote for him, but you're just here to comment about him on social media.
That's kind of dumb. I just wouldn't comment. But like, I mean, why would I comment on social media? Is it because I'm trying to support them or what?
No, like
If
the
I'm not
way that you
voting.
talk about it, like someone asked you, what's your opinion on Gavin Newsom?
Oh, if somebody asked me, I'd be honest because I'm not a public figure or whatever. Or like, what do you want me to
Okay.
say? I'd be like, hey, I think he might be a Nazi. I'm not really sure. I'm not really gonna lie or whatever. Like if it's on a Piers Morgan
Okay,
panel,
but if
then
it's
I would.
okay, let's just say
But
okay,
like if
if
I
it's
make if
Gavin
I'm
Newsom, okay, hold on. If Gavin Newsom is running against a Republican and he has that same history, would you vote for him?
if Gavin Newsom was running against a Republican had the same
Yeah,
history,
and he was
I would
Blackwater and a
again,
tattoo. Yeah.
I'd have to heavily consider the race. Like it would be like if it
Like,
was a full on, if it was like running against Donald Trump or something, then like yeah, I'd probably vote for Newsom. But like if it's like I don't know, like if it's
wait,
let me think, who's the most moderate
you
Republican?
hold on. No, no, no. Listen to me. You
If it's
Republicans are
McCain's
batshit
ghost,
insane right now. You
yeah, I
realize
know.
that, right?
Yeah, and again, this would be like it'd have to be a highly calculated situation. Like I'd have to also have to consider like what does the world look like at the time? Like do we have like a 50-50 Senate? Do we have like
No,
a 60
stop.
Dem
I don't know why
majority?
you're considering all of this. Obviously, I'm talking about anyone who is in the current Republican Party and anyone who is like sympathetic to Donald
I know,
Trump, right?
no, you're right, but it also considers like what is the current in the race, right? This current race is like party calculations, right? Like what is the like likelihood of
No,
each candidate
forget
winning?
forget about the primary. Forget about the primary. Let's just say
I know, I'm
Gavin
not talking
Newsom
about
won the
primaries. I'm
primary.
talking
Okay,
right. I know,
so
I'm not talking
Gavin
about
Newsom
primaries.
versus a Republican, just like the average Republican from Trump's party, which is crazy. Who is a crazy person?
Okay, yes, yeah, okay, yeah. I'd like again, like I'd have to consider like what does the world look like right now? Like are we at the point where we're like in the
No,
post
now, right now, right now. I'm talking
okay,
about right
right
now,
now?
current
I
day.
don't
Okay,
yeah,
ten
and I have
twenty
no
three
idea
twenty
who would
twenty
win
five.
tomorrow. I have no idea who would win tomorrow if a race happened, right? Because I'm not
But
sure how
why do you
Nazi are
not, why
Americans.
can't you answer this question? I don't
Because I
understand.
don't because okay, if so let's say if tomorrow that there was a presidential or
Just a drink.
do we decide on what the race
Martini,
is?
shaken, not stirred.
Is it
OMG, David is
presidential?
back.
Let's just say it was presidential, sure. So the stakes are
Okay.
high, okay?
Let's
Because you
say if
don't
tomorrow
like, yeah. All right.
that's such a hard
Wait,
thing
thank
to
you for the
imagine because
$2. Mhm.
like we're at this point like there would have been a huge campaign or you're saying that there was suddenly a snap election with two candidates that we don't know about. Um in a snap election with Gavin Newsom with a Nazi tattoo and Blackwater is
Oh
saying
my
cancel
god. The
Israel.
fact that you're even taking this long is crazy. I'm sorry, it's crazy to me, but
Well, because this is a very unique situation. Like you're saying that there was a snap election that happened tomorrow and nobody ran a campaign, right? Like, so I have no idea like what are the true
oh my
stances of
god.
either
Let's just
person.
no, hold on. Let's just assume they ran a campaign, but you didn't find out more about Gavin Newsom. It's agnostic. You have no idea.
And that's so hard to consider. Like, I don't know what campaign he'd run. I don't know like what all this stuff
You
would be.
can't even give
This is
like
a
a
whole
rough
different.
answer.
This is a
You don't
whole
even
different
like
world. You're describing like a whole different
no,
like
I'm
political
not
situation.
describing a whole different world. This is what a hypothetical for. Like that is the entire point of a
Oh, you're describing
hypothetical.
such a confusing. Yeah, yes, hypotheticals work in similar situations, but the thing you're describing is a radically different world. Where Gavin Newsom has pretty much the opposite stance of everything that he currently has,
No,
or not necessarily
no, but
opposite,
you
but a
don't know
hyper
that.
left version.
No, no.
What do you mean? No, it's
What?
true.
Hold on. What is the point of me bringing up Gavin Newsom if I wasn't considering like his current policies as well, right?
Didn't you say?
Otherwise,
Didn't you say Gavin Newsom
otherwise
accept
it could be a
everything
question for
animals?
anything, right? Because obviously the reason why I bring up Gavin Newsom is because he has based ideas, he has based policies, and he advocates on running based off of these policies, right? Otherwise, I would have
You
said another name. So the thing is that if Gavin Newsom was found with a Nazi tattoo, okay, and he is like a Blackwater operative who has probably killed people in the past, but you don't know. You
okay?
don't
So
have the chance to ask them for any further questions. You have no
I know.
idea, right? And they're running against the Trump Party Republican who is running on Trump 2025, right? They're running on the agenda for 2025. What is who do you
Again,
pick?
you're asking about somebody, so you're essentially like again, like you're asking about Gavin Newsom if his position policy stances were entirely different than what they are now.
No,
Like
I'm
the
not.
only
No,
thing that
I'm
would be
not.
even
I'm
more
literally
different
saying the
is
opposite.
Republican.
Hold on. You're not understanding. I'm saying the opposite of that. I'm saying the opposite of that. I'm not saying he's going to have an entirely different agenda. He is literally running on the policies that the way that he is running California right now. I'm saying his policy for the presidency is the way is like congruent with the way that he is running California right now. A working analogy, an actual
So does
working
he? Okay,
realistic
wait.
example.
So does he or
I,
does he not have the same policy positions as Platner? So like
no,
it
he does
does.
not. He doesn't have the same
He
positions
doesn't.
as
So he wouldn't.
Platner.
So he's
Yes,
not
I've said
hyper
this
pro
five
Israel.
times.
No, I asked 5 times. I said, is he pro Israel or not? And you kept
I don't know. Is
saying
Gavin
like,
right now
yes, he is.
pro-Israel?
No, he's or well, let me think.
All I'm
He's like
saying.
in the
Oh
middle.
my
He's like
god.
kind of pro Israel, but not. But he's like Democrat pro Israel.
Okay, you know what I think is happening? I think you're afraid. I think you're
No, I'm
afraid of
asking
answering the
5
question.
times. I keep asking, like,
No,
is
I
this
get
person
it.
have the
You're
same
afraid of
positions as
answering the
Platter or
question.
not?
I totally get it. Okay.
I've asked if you want to listen to the VOD, and I know there's probably people in chat who probably listen to the same thing. Like I've asked like 10 times, like, does this person have the same stances as Plattner or not? And like if it was just Newsom with a tattoo, all day I'd probably be voting for Newsom. Like pretty like cause I would consider again, like you said, 50% chance of him being a real Nazi or whatever, right? But like then you said no, but he has the exact same history and stuff like that of Plattner, and he has a similar campaign. So like and so at this point we're just talking about a completely different person, right?
Okay, I don't want to explain this a sixth time because you still don't get the
Okay, explain
hypothetical.
it. Okay, yes,
How do
explain
you
the
not get the
hypothetical. Go
hypothetical
ahead.
a sixth
Yes,
time? Like, I don't even think this is
explain it one more time.
possible. Like, I
No, because
literally
you
don't think
asked.
this is
I didn't.
possible.
Wasn't the words that came out of your mouth was this would be Newsom with the same agenda as Plattner? Didn't you just say? Didn't you say that? Is that not a quote?
No, I'm saying
What?
Gavin. Okay,
I
okay,
know
follow
exactly. You
this. Okay,
said
please,
Gavin
please.
would have the same
I okay.
agenda as
Let me
Plattner
be clear.
does, right?
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's the opposite. I literally said the opposite of that. Dude, what the fuck?
Okay,
Gavin
fine,
is
fine.
running
Explain
on
the
the
hypothetical. Yep.
same agenda that he is running California right now. As in, if Gavin Newsom right now ran in the presidential race, he is running in a way where it makes sense, as in, like, this is the current Gavin Newsom, except the only difference is that
Tattoo.
he has Platner's anime history.
That's your. So you're saying he does have Plattner's history, but at the same time, he has everything that he's done in Gavin Newsom's like political history. That like you're saying that he has both. Like I don't know how I can consider. Okay, so let me think. So let's say Gavin Newsom was a. Let's say when did he run as governor? How long has
No,
he been a
stop. You're
politician?
overthinking. Stop. You're completely
I'm not
overthinking this.
overthinking. Like you're
Please.
the one making this an extremely
Please.
complex
Please, you're
situation.
overthinking it. You're trolling me. Good troll. Good troll,
If it was
Radiant.
just
I'm
Newsom
triggered.
with
I'm
a Nazi
triggered. I'm
tattoo,
angry. Okay.
if it was just Newsom with a Nazi tattoo, like I would almost like I would almost like close my eyes and just vote for him. Like I'd maybe slightly hesitate if he was running against like John McCain or something, or just like some Republican that I know is like I don't know constitutionally responsible. But like if it was him versus Trump, like Nazi tattoo Newsom versus Trump, I would always vote for that or Newsom. Um, like or even just like almost pretty much anybody else that's currently like in present day Republicans. But but yeah, like if you're saying like in this situation, this is Gavin Newsom who served as governor of California, and he has all this history of being like pretty moderate-ish, like progressive, like moderate Californian, I guess is a better way to say it. But
What?
at the same
Dude,
time,
what the fuck are you going on, mate? It's not that hard to
no,
understand.
okay, you're saying
I
it.
don't
Okay, at
get
the same
why you're
time,
not understanding. Anybody can understand
because I
the
don't
fucking
understand what you're
hypothetical.
saying. He has the same agenda. Okay, so like
The
in
same
this case,
agenda as himself, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, the
I know,
person.
right?
He
So you're
doesn't
saying
have Platner's agenda. He doesn't have Platner's policies. He has Gavin Newsom's policies. Gavin Newsom has Gavin Newsom policies. What part of I don't understand. I don't
if it's
understand.
just
I don't
okay, then
get
it's
it.
just Newsom with a
Oh,
tattoo. It's just Newsom with
yes.
a tattoo. That's why I just said yes. I would vote for Newsom with a tattoo if it was against Trump. Like there'd be a very short list of people that I would vote for
Yeah, but
over him if it
I
was
just don't understand. Like, that's literally what I
I said that
described in
5
very
times.
clear
I said that 5
English.
times. Yes, I said that 5 times. I said that 5 times. It was Newsom with a tattoo, a million percent. If it was Newsom with a tattoo against pretty much any modern day
No, not
Republican,
just Newsom
I'd
with
vote
a
for him.
tattoo, because you literally said if they had a tattoo and they had the history that Platner had, then you would consider more, right?
Yeah, I would
So let's
consider
just
more,
say,
but if it's
yeah,
against
so it would be
Trump,
Gavin Newsom. It would be Gavin Newsom
but if it's against
with a
Trump in his actual
tattoo and
primary,
his entire anime backstory. That's different, right? Then that's different.
not really. No, like it's not too different because again, like I said, it's 60% chance he's a Nazi, but I would take that over 100% chance of a Nazi, which is Donald Trump currently and most of the Republican
Okay,
Party.
okay, cool. We don't disagree. Did you know
Okay.
that? Did you know we don't
Yes, I
disagree?
know. I said that. Didn't I say it at the beginning?
You
Didn't I
realize
say at
that
the
I
beginning?
recognize. Hold on, hold on. You
No.
realize that I recognize Platner as like a leftist cuck, right? and I
Yeah,
would
I know,
vote.
I know that
I
too.
would
Yeah,
vote for a moderate Democrat over Platner.
yeah,
But why?
absolutely.
Why? Hold on. But why do you think I'm defending Platner right now? I'm just curious. Why do you think I'm defending Platner?
Because you're doing the don't eat the left thing or whatever. But like I think is a little bit, or at least like in this case, like I think there is a pretty like decent chance of him being a real Nazi, which I think is like worth like looking at, especially during a primary. And it's pretty funny to watch like lefties like freak out and like defend a guy with a Nazi tattoo when if this happened to a like moderate Democrat, they would probably like burn down, I don't know, like the Senate itself.
I mean, I don't disagree with finding it funny. I don't disagree with mocking lefties. I don't disagree
Yeah,
with
okay, yeah, I
mocking
know, but I
lefties
said
based off of
besides that,
hypocrisy.
I know, but
Okay.
besides that, like I would definitely like, and again, that's why I asked earlier, like, would you, if it was a Nazi versus a Nazi in the race, or like a Nazi versus Republican, who would you
No,
vote
that
for?
means nothing. What are their policies?
Nazis. Literally, again, this is why I said like if you knew that there were Nazis, and in my opinion, a Nazi would like would definitely not be running on if they were being honest. They wouldn't run as a Democrat because and then the only time I think a Democrat would run it, or only time I would think a Nazi would run as a Democrat is if they're pretending to do that so that way they can get elected. Because there's no like Nazi policy I can think of that lines up with Democrat policies.
Okay, let's just even if I grant you this, even if I grant you this, like let's just say that Plattner won. Okay, in the 4 years, right? So it's the term is for 4 years, right? In the 4 years
For
as a
what? The
Nazi, he
Senate?
goes
6 years.
6 years. Okay, let's just say 6 years. Let's just say he went on television, he did a monologue speech. He's like, guess what, guys? I was actually a Nazi this
That
entire
would look
time.
really
Now
bad.
I'm gonna enact my true agenda. Okay, in that 6 years, what can you do?
In that 6 years,
Hmm?
he'd probably vote like entirely with Republicans when it comes to like race-based stuff and just or any but he would definitely like try to defund Israel or whatever. Like whatever Nazi like edge cases there are. But I like in that case, if he just became like a full-on Nazi, like I would
One
arguably
person
like
can defund Israel in 6 years.
no, I didn't say one person. I'm saying he would vote with Republicans on a lot of issues. Like besides an issue where it's like, oh, defund Israel or something like that, right? Because like why would a
He's
Nazi
running
vote?
against Susan Collins, who is a Republican.
I know, and that's why I'm asking you. But you just said in this
Like
situation,
you're
in your
telling me someone
hypothetical,
is willing to go through all this trouble to pretend to be a more extremist candidate and then just become like a candidate running on that
I
agenda,
didn't
not
say that. No,
implement their agenda to
I didn't say
backstab
that.
the party? Like you realize that this is going right into like, oh yeah, like Shield was occupied by Hydra like territory, right?
I didn't say that. No, because again, like in this situation, the hypothetical you just posed
Like
to
why
me
wouldn't he
was
just
that
run as a
he won the
Republican
race
then?
and he came out. That's what I'm asking, right? Like I don't see a situation where somebody is 100% confirmed Nazi is running as a Democrat, honestly, right? And that's why, and the situation you just posed was like, well, if he just like got elected and he came out and said like, I am a Nazi, right? And he did, and basically just like was outwardly for it. Like in that case, like I could easily see that being a very bad situation, even if he was like superficially a Democrat. Because one, like nobody really likes Nazis, so I'm assuming it would look really bad for the Democrat Party in the first place, and probably affect every like whatever downhill race. And two, like he probably wouldn't vote for most Democrat policies anyway. Like he'd probably vote with Republicans on all their Nazi like authoritarian bills and resolutions or whatever, right?
Do you remember when I asked do you remember when I said that even though it's not proven that he's a Nazi, that you're basically
Wait, you're
treating him
saying
like a
in this
Nazi?
situation, you're saying in this situation,
Oh, sorry,
he
sorry, sorry.
won the
Okay,
race.
yes, I understand. I understand what you're talking about. Yes. But like you realize that for some more long-term plans and for it to be actually effective, right? Like he would need more than one term.
Okay, it's beyond just like what he can achieve. It also includes like if a Nazi won the race and people knew he was a Nazi and what he would do as
Wait,
a
what?
Nazi, right?
No, but
Like
I
he
thought the
would
entire time was that he was hiding the fact that he was a Nazi.
I know, yes, he'd be hiding
Yeah.
it to get elected, right? And then once he gets elected, like I'm assuming most politicians want to like wield their power to do stuff that they believe in. So like he would probably vote for things that is a lot more like Republican leaning. And this is what I said, like it would be very nuanced. Like if it was Nazi versus like Stephen Miller or something, like I have to really, really consider like what is the most likely like outcome of stuff happening. Like is like are we like let me think. Like, let's say if a new war opened up in like Africa or something, and so we have to accept a bunch of African immigrants, otherwise they're all going to get massacred in a genocide or whatever. Like, and let's say if that the Republican candidate like was kind of open to it, but not really, but Democrat won, the Nazi Democrat.
Okay,
Like,
okay, I have no idea what
do you
you're
see the
talking about
nuance?
now.
Do you
Okay,
see? Do you
you're
understand
coming
the
up with
nuance I'm
some kind
saying?
of okay.
Do you
That's
understand
just
the
great.
nuance of that?
Okay,
Like,
okay, hold on. You realize that I would vote. I would probably vote for Janet Mills over like Platner, right?
I know, yes, of course, yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, it's definitely worth
And I would,
investigating,
and then,
especially
and
for your
if
primary.
Platner won, I would vote for Platner over Susan Collins, right?
Um, if what we know now is stayed exactly the
I
same,
can't
like,
believe you can't believe you're actually hesitating on this. Oh, sorry.
wait,
Answer the
I
question.
just wasn't done yet.
Would
Yeah,
you vote for Platner over Susan Collins?
again, I was literally about to agree with you. I was gonna say if what we know now was to stay the exact same, I'd probably yes, I would definitely vote for him over Susan Collins because like there's not enough evidence to say oh he's gonna be a Nazi or whatever, right? But then let's say if like tomorrow, like or let's say if like I was talking to him tomorrow and it turns out that like he was like oh yeah you know like I've got a swastika tattoo on my like hidden behind like on my back that nobody's ever seen. Like
What the
I
fuck,
like
dude?
that's what I'm saying,
Oh
like, as in
my
if it was like if we
god.
were to like confirm it, like even more stuff came out, then like, you know, it'd be pretty rough. I definitely want to consider
You know,
things.
this is really funny. I just want to let you know. I just want to let you know that everything you are saying is completely not congruent with the way that history is, even for people who are hiding their power level. Because even for people who is secretly more of a radical, what they do is that in order to have a successful political career who can actually implement permanent change, they have to win multiple elections and expand their base. By being a
You
radical, it is
you don't think
impossible for you to expand your base.
right. Okay, right.
You would
So
get
like
primary. You would be
we have
fucking
people
voted out if you lied to people. What you're
yeah, right.
proposing is
Okay.
impossible. It's
There are
impossible for
plenty
him to do.
the Republican Party right now is currently like 90% like entire like full on liars. Like it's not necessarily impossible to win an election by not by doing stuff that you campaign on or not doing stuff that you campaign on. But like uh yeah. I mean it's not like just because they don't fulfill every single promise during their campaign doesn't mean like they won't be able to achieve the goals that they personally believe in. And like we've seen like I think what was the Adolf Hitler the Nazi party's like main stances? Like they weren't outwardly anti-Jew until they actually took power and were able to enact all of their policies.
Why
Like they would kind of hint at it, but
why are
not
you
necessarily
turning
like
towards the
do a dog whistle
1930s
about it.
thing? Like why are you turning towards that when like
I'm saying
we literally
historically,
have American history too? Okay.
I know, and in American history too, like nobody's going to be outwardly like
Because
racist
I'm
or
talking yeah,
Nazi or whatever,
I'm
right?
talking about the context of the way that our government works right now, not in the way that Weimar Republic like government worked, right? Like whatever that is, I don't care. I'm talking about the context of the way that our current system, you would need multiple terms
In our
to
current system,
affect incredibly permanent change,
right,
right?
but again, like we're considering, like what would the impact of electing him into that seat would be? Well, it would be one, he'd probably vote with the Republicans on tons of issues that'd be pretty important, and two, he would like
I just
make
want to
the
let you
party
know
look
the
really bad
possibility of that
because it'd be,
happening is so ridiculously low
and that's why I said
that
if
like you
more
might
stuff
as well not
we're
even consider it to be a
again
possibility.
that's why I
Okay.
said we're talking about a situation where he's definitely a Nazi, right? But like if we're in the current situation now, where like he's like
Even
there's like a
as a
60% chance.
Nazi, I just want to say, even as a Nazi, you would probably still vote in line with the Democratic Party because you want to win future elections.
That's incredibly like you don't think that there's a niche he could occupy where he's like he's got bipartisan
Brother,
support because he's like
brother,
super what?
brother. I'm telling you, the politics world is not the same as the social media world. Okay, on the social media world, you can be
Yeah, I
whoever you
understand.
want,
You
whenever
really
you
don't
want.
think that there's a
But in
niche you could
order to
occupy?
have a successful political career, there is very, very specific patterns that you recognize in the
Do you
game.
know? Do you remember the name
Okay,
of that? Do you remember the name of that Republican House representative that like held the seat for like I think 6 terms or something? And he was like kind of he wasn't an open Nazi because as soon as people were like very sure, I think I forgot what he said. There's something he said that like people just decided like or the Republicans literally kicked him out of their party. I forgot what it was, but like he was like pretty much it was like an open secret of him being a literal Nazi. Um, and he was running as a Republican, and people weren't necessarily like disavowing him or like he could do all of his Nazi votes and like push his Nazi ideas, but like he wasn't like he was pretty popular, right? Like you don't think a niche like that could exist for a Democrat Nazi?
I mean, maybe, but
Because
we're
you
talking
because you just
about
have to
like
toe
the
the
niche
line
of a
just a little
niche
bit.
of a tiny percentage when there are much more easily explainable like explanations. There are
I
much
mean,
better. Like you're talking about Hanlon's razor, right? Hanlon's razor fallacy is like you should always assume sorry, is it Occam's razor or Hanlon's razor? Something about it is
and
like you should always assume like the highest probability scenario. I
I think
choose
it's
the
Occam's
scenario that is
for this.
99.9% of the time and not the scenario that's like
Right.
0.1% of
Okay,
the
right.
time.
But okay, so in this situation, we are saying that a Nazi won the seat and he ran as a Democrat, right? But you're saying that him running as a Democrat would mean he'd have to kind of vote in line with mostly Democrat policies. I'm
If
saying
he
that
wants to be
he could
reelected and not
literally,
primaried.
and this is very common too, by the way. Like you see, there are senators that have ran as a certain party and just left the party like after they won because of some kind of disagreement. Like you could easily run as an independent. Or just like kind of you could pretty much just ignore the Democrats. You could ignore your own party if you wanted to, as long as you had like a pretty good avenue at doing that. Like a lot of people fail at doing it, but like we have plenty of historical examples of that being pretty successful. Like Angus King has held that seat for decades, literally, and he's just been a pure independent. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's not.
I'm
I feel like
sorry,
it's
is
very. This
Platner's like state that like that? Like,
Platter,
do you know?
Angus King is in a pretty moderate state. I'm pretty sure. Like, and who else? Who's the other guy? Um, there's also been tons of Republicans that like ran in pretty red Republican seats and they just became independent because they
You
really hated
realize
Donald Trump.
like notice just take notice how you're reaching for exceptions and border scenarios and maybe this could happen, maybe this
We're
could
discussing a
be X
situational.
and
We're
Y.
considering yes, because we were
Okay.
considering a situation where this guy is 100% confirmed Nazi, elected and has already been elected, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that even if he was a Nazi, even if he revealed himself to be a Nazi, like literally almost nothing would change.
Well, nothing would change. There's been there like you really think like he just wouldn't have enough influence
I
to
can't.
like
Okay,
push
all right,
stuff
I
and
give
then
up.
make the party look
I
bad?
give up. I give up. I give up. Okay, it's okay. All right.
You don't think it would make the party look really bad if a
Wait,
literal Nazi got elected?
would you vote for Platner over Donald Trump right now?
Yes, of course.
Oh, awesome. Okay,
It's obvious. Like
we don't even disagree all that much then. Yeah.
now if something came out tomorrow where it turns out Platner is 100% confirmed Nazi, then like I'd have to really consider what the current situation is. But there's a good but like I would say
The
like
current
yeah, I'd
situation is
probably
the
still
current
vote for it.
situation, right? Like that's literally what current situation means by its own definition. A current situation is a current
I get
situation.
this is like a Hassan versus like do you remember the hypothetical Hassan versus Trump?
Yeah.
Like I think like remember how like Destiny was saying there's a ton of nuance in answering the question of Hassan versus Trump? Like
Yeah.
if we're in the situation where we're like we have
No,
the
but the thing is
bourgeoisie
that like
overthrow
no, but the reason why he's saying that there's a lot of nuance to the question was because
because we're considering two entirely different worlds at that point, right? Like we'd have to really consider like what the world is currently.
well
Like if we're at,
because no, the complicatedness is that like you are a social media figure who is effectively being converted into a politician, right? Like that is what we're running with. That's why it's hard to conceive of that. But the thing is that Platner right now is a person who is already politician minded, but But
N-
Platner
It was
is
all.
like,
I'm
yeah, I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
he was considering like what the political situation at the time is, because like you can't like if Hassan was running, and we still
Yeah.
have the current situation where it's like the world supports like loves Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is like a full-on fascist, and like we've got all these fascist policies or whatever, and like Republicans own pretty much all of the government. Like I'd definitely vote for what would I? If it was the current situation, I'd probably
I
vote
don't
for
know
Hassan,
why
I
you're
think.
even pausing on
I'd
this. I
probably vote
just
for
don't
Hassan.
know.
You would vote for Hassan, right? Yes
Yes.
or no? Because I'm pretty
But
sure
the
Destiny
thing
said
is,
the
in
opposite.
the current situation, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like if we're in an entirely different situation where it's like and this is where I know that Hassan is a huge like hyper authoritarian, right? But like if we're in an opposite situation where like Democrats like pretty much hold all of the government and Hassan versus Trump happened, I'd probably vote for Trump because Hassan would literally like attempt to overthrow like and start his like communist Marxist
Uh,
revolution, right?
I don't even know if that's the case, just mainly because like the Senate and the House of Representatives and the court would probably block him. But
Well, again, this is why I'm saying like what's happening right now with the courts and the Senate and everything, right? Like Republicans are just like full throated, like deep throating Donald Trump
no,
and doing
but
everything he
notice,
wants.
but yeah, but notice the way that I'm engaging with your hypotheticals are like based off of like the current scenario in addition to like the parameters in which you laid out, right? But
Correct.
then like you're overthinking every single one of my hypotheticals. It's like
No, I'm
what
not.
the fuck?
Okay, right. So who would you vote for in the situation where Democrats or were essentially like, Republicans, what Republicans are like right now is the opposite, right? Democrats own everything, and Hassan is running as a Democrat representative for president, like, and it was against Trump. Who would you vote for?
Wait, sorry, what's the choice?
It was Hassan versus Trump, and the reality is that we are in basically where the Republicans are now, except it's the Democrats. But it's not anti-authoritarian. We're just
Um,
saying that Hassan will definitely have like a pretty like strong grip on government because
what's the
Democrats own
state?
everything.
What's the state of the Republican Party at that point?
What it is now, like same policy positions,
What's the state of the Democrats?
same policy positions, except that they support Hassan.
What do you mean by support Hassan? You can't just say, "Oh yeah, they have the same position and they support Hassan." That's not
Like they're
that
saying
makes no sense.
like as in like they have the same positions of like kind of like what Bernie does now, right? Like Bernie isn't like full on like anti-Israel or whatever, but like he's obviously he offers criticism
Yeah.
when it's like pertinent. Like it'd be similar to that, right? But they would support Hassan because Hassan is a Democrat or he's a Democrat candidate. Like you can't just like throw
Okay.
your
All
candidate under
right.
the bus.
I would probably still vote for Hassan.
That's pretty wild. I don't know. I think
Why
Peter
is
Destiny
that?
says the
Why,
opposite.
dude? Fuck me, dude.
Because
You're
Hassan is a
talking about,
Marxist. Hassan wants to start a communist revolution. Like he'd basically be doing what
bro,
Trump did. Because at least if we voted
bro,
for Trump, we'd be able to outlast the 4 years, right? Because Trump would have no power for
bro.
4 years, right? That's the entire
You're
logic of voting
you're
for
you're
Trump in that
you're
situation.
talking about the Republicans who are, you said, because it's the Republicans right now, they're neo-Nazis. Okay, all of them are
Yeah, they
neo-Nazis.
are neo
Okay,
Nazis,
and
but we'd be
then
voting for.
assuming that the Democratic Party is a bunch of Bernie Sanders, I still would think a whole party of Bernie Sanders would still prevent Hassan from like essentially destroying everything.
I don't know
I
that
do
because
think so, because
Hassan
I
would be
don't
the
think Bernie
president, and
Sanders
Hassan
is
would.
that extreme. I don't think Bernie Sanders is a Marxist. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Bernie Sanders isn't a Marxist, but it's Hassan or it's the president that would have, as you can see what Trump is doing, massive amounts of influence in the executive branch, right? Like like this in this case, like well, it wouldn't be the same, but I would say it's almost the same as Trump where he would win in 2024 and like basically just be able to do whatever he wants, right? I would assume in this case Hassan can pretty much do whatever he wants, just maybe a little bit more restrictive because like again, I think Democrats actually believe in something. Um, but yeah, like I'm not sure if like push came to shove, like how much they'd be able to put
Yeah,
up a
maybe,
fight
but
in
like
the case of
I
Hassan.
would prefer, I'll like, the thing is that you're trying to make me guess a hypothetical world in which Hassan is no longer a streamer, but is instead a
I
politician.
know it's a
So
super
he is
nuanced question,
forced.
right?
So he is forced to be presidential. He can no longer be edgy. He has to be a lot more moderate, right? So chances are, yeah, like he will probably mellow out and not be as crazy.
I don't know if
And not and
okay.
in addition, even if he was trying to implement crazy radical ideas, like that would just be struck down. Like the thing is that that is the way I'm thinking about it. But yeah.
Okay, I think you should. I think Destiny asked the exact same question, or somebody posed it to him or something like that, and I think he was like diehard saying like, "Yeah, I'd vote for." I think it was another example. It's like Charlie Kirk versus Hassan. I think it was like Charlie Kirk all day because Charlie Kirk at least seemingly believes in, or he would say Charlie Kirk all day, and I think he said because like they at least like believe in the Constitution, or he would believe in the Constitution, and like he like Hassan is like what do we call it? He basically he thinks communists are the same as like Nazis essentially, which
Okay.
I'd probably agree with him on because like
Okay.
they don't believe in like they believe in authoritarian power, and essentially do everything he would need to do to become an authoritarian.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah,
I'll probably just disagree with Destiny because the thing is that like the way I look at it is like with Charlie Kirk, you're talking about like for example, like it's probably really hard to get a lot of legislation passed because like the president would just have the veto power on a lot of things. So then like Charlie Kirk would just like deny every single fucking thing that like a Democratic Congress would pass through, right? But the thing is with
he
Hassan,
can't just
chances
veto
are that
everything.
he will not veto like that kind of shit. But yeah.
Yeah, but he can't just veto everything. Like there's definitely like if we're
What are you
talking
talking about?
about.
Charlie Kirk would 100% like start vetoing every single
Yeah, I
Democratic
know, but
bill
he would.
because
I know.
he
I'm
is
saying he wouldn't be
shameless.
able to. I know. Yes, he is shameless, but he wouldn't be able
What?
to. Like, there's a lot of ways to get around vetoes. Like, veto is a very like specific thing. Um, but yeah,
Destiny's hypothetical is always assuming the candidates have free reign to enact their views.
yes, in that case, right? Like,
No, okay, you have not defined that in your parameters. So
no,
this is
I
what
asked
I'm
two
operating off
situations.
from.
No, wait. I was saying two different situations,
Is
right?
this free reign? Is this free
I
reign?
gave I gave you the situation of what the political
Like their
situation is
dictator, right?
as dictator for a day. I never said that.
No, no, no,
That's
no,
what
no,
I
no.
wasn't
I
saying
never
that.
said for a day. I never even said
Or
these words. Hold on,
dictator
you're
for
like
the term.
hallucinating words out of nowhere. Yeah. So the thing is that like in your parameters, the way that you are describing right now, with a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Supreme Court, right? Yeah, I support Hassan for president.
It's kind of wild. I don't know. Like that's because in my head that's essentially free reign.
Okay,
But
cool. Then we
because Trump
disagree
is kind of
because the
doing all
because
that. It's kind of being
okay
is doing free reign essentially.
because your stance is that the Republicans would be kept in the same place that they are now, aka neo Nazis. Okay, thank you, but I would rather
Yes.
not have a neo Nazi president. Okay, maybe that's just
But
me. Maybe I'm just
wait. If
anti Nazi.
Republicans,
Maybe
if
what do
Re-
you put down?
the reason why
That's
you'd vote
literally
for
the
Trump,
parameters of the
the reason why
argument. Oh my
the reason
god.
why I would vote for Trump in this situation is because Trump wouldn't have power. Because Trump would just sit down and just like chill for 4 years because he basically there's the Republicans don't hold any power anywhere else.
It's almost as if voting for a neo Nazi or not really depends on the scenario,
I said
wouldn't
that.
it?
I think I said that. Yes, I think I've said that. Wasn't that literally what I said? Like or like if it was actually a Nazi
Okay,
versus
you
Stephen
realize
Miller.
if it's absolute power, then yeah, I agree with voting for Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, and I would agree too. All right, because yeah, because of that, right? Like constitutional responsibility, and well, at least I hope. I don't know. Charlie Kirk seems like a Christian nationalist. That I'm not sure he really likes the Constitution that much. But yeah, like I definitely more than a Marxist. Assuming that they're dictators.
I actually can't believe like you're this leftist. Like you are a pretty hard leftist,
What are
dude.
you talking about? I mean,
Like
I'm ideologically pretty left, but like,
you know how
or
leftists
actually,
are
I don't
always
know,
like
but
okay you know how leftists are always like, oh my god, if you're a Nazi in the past you'll forever be a Nazi, or like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, I don't care what your policies are, the only
I
thing I
never
care
said he's
about
a.
is like
I
what
never said
aesthetic you
he is
have.
an. I never said like again like that could be a totally fine explanation for the tattoo and stuff like that, right? Like maybe like he really did. He really was a like a pretty strong Nazi back then. But like everything he's explaining now and how he's talking about it doesn't seem like he really cared much. up until people found out it was a Nazi tattoo.
Okay, we're looping. All right, is there anything else?
No, there's nothing else. That was
Okay.
it. DGGL.
All right, bye.
FSL.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
See you later.
Just by the way, I said that I was gonna end stream. Okay, I literally said I was gonna end stream, but like that just dragged on for so long. Oh my god, bro, kill me, dude. That was so painful. I just can't even believe that's like a real conversation that is like worth having. It's just, yeah, I don't know, it's just crazy. I don't know. It's just such a such a silly conversation. Also, Misaki, thank you so much for the tier 5 sub, okay? On YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you. See, this is why I need editors, so then I don't have to be worried about when I end stream. So then I have extra time to edit and to like upload shit. Yeah. Yeah, this is why I need editors, because yeah, this is not sustainable. Whatever this is not sustainable, okay? Having to worry about which time I end stream is too much. It's better to have someone in the background, like editing videos and shit. But yeah. But thanks for coming into debate anyway. I'm almost done with the first short. Cool. RK, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate that. Chatter's list. Okay, we're raiding into something. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Bye. See ya. Oh. Hey.